Hey there guys, I'm back to another video. Today I am doing my massive Blu-ray collection, and the only reason it's so big is because of Black Friday and thrift store shopping, or whatever you want to call it, in like used stores. So over the past, I would say like 6 months, me and my brother have been just buying a lot of Blu-rays, whether they're new releases that we've seen in theaters and we want to rewatch them at some point, or they're older movies that we find at a used store and we just buy them because it's a pretty good deal and we want to watch it. So I won't talk about everything in this. I won't talk about every single Blu-ray in this video just because I haven't watched everything. And then on top of that, I will be splitting this video up into certain segments. So if you guys want a extensive timestamp sort of list, it'll be in the description below. But on your screen right now, I will first be doing Disney/Pixar movies, and then anime, TV shows, Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff, and then all of the other superhero nonsense, and then I'll get into everything else. So, and then alphabetical order. So, first up, I said Disney, right? So first up, I bought this at the Toys R Us closing sale, pretty much my last purchase there. Monsters University. I heard this movie was okay, so that's why I was, kind of hesitant on buying it, but you know what? Toys R Us was closing. This was pretty cheap. I think it was like less than 15, which is good for like Disney stuff. So did not mind buying it. Even if it is like mediocre or subpar for Disney standards, I wouldn't mind just sitting down and watching. Because, Monsters, Inc. is definitely a classic Disney Pixar film. So there's that. Coco, oh my god, this movie definitely hit me in the feels. Did not expect it. I think it's still on Netflix, so if you got Netflix, you got a way to watch it, but if not, definitely try to watch this for yourself, because I was really surprised by how much I really love this film. So yeah. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. I wanted to watch this before or around Christmas time. Did not get a chance to. As you can see, it's still sealed. But my neighbor, he loves this movie. I know that. And it is, very, very well loved, I would say. So there's that. Wreck-It Ralph. I really like this film just because, it is very much about video game references and all this other stuff. But at the same time, it does have its very good story on its own. Obviously, the video game references help in, some department. But in terms of, actually telling their story, I think it was done right. And Wreck-It Ralph 2, I believe it just came out on Blu-ray. I'll just give my quick thoughts on it. It's all right. I would say it's not as good as this one, the first one, but, the second one still definitely has its charm and its, moments, and I really do like that. And the message that it tells was very relatable for me at the time, especially, so I really do like Wreck-It Ralph 2. Despite what some people may say about it, I still think it's, a fine film. Frozen. I know they just announced a sequel recently, but anyways, the original. It's definitely very overrated, I would say. I don't think it's as good as a lot of people say it is. I think it's average in terms of, what Disney makes in terms of, their animated movies and all this other stuff. But, it's okay. I'm definitely not going to say that, it's, amazing or fantastic. Probably because I was so late to the party when I finally watched it. I don't know. But, Frozen 2, a lot of people are excited for that, so... The Incredibles. This is definitely a Pixar Disney movie that I can get down with. This is a fantastic superhero movie, but at the same time a fantastic, Disney Pixar film. So yeah, and it's really good. I really do love it. The whole superhero aspect, the family thing as well, was very nicely implemented. And the sequel, I honestly really loved it when it came out. In retrospect, it's probably not as good as I say it is, but I really love the second film, probably as much as the first one. So next up we got is Inside Out. All I know is that this one was about emotions and stuff. So when I finally sat down and watched it, it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. In terms of how it told its story and what the premise was and all this other stuff. Not to spoil too much, obviously, or say too much to those wondering, but yeah, all you need to know is that it's a movie about showing emotion. So, and it does it in a great way. I will say that. So, and finally, in terms of like my Disney and Pixar nonsense, Big Hero 6. I believe it's about superheroes again. I will say that because there is, some other things going on, but I'm pretty sure the main thing is that, Baymax is pretty much a superhero sort of thing. I could be getting everything wrong here, but anyways, it's been a long time since I've watched this movie. I bought this on Blu-ray when it came out, but, from what I remember, it was a fun film. It was really fun. I really liked it. But yeah. Next up, we got anime. So I guess I'll get a good portion of it out of the way. So I got the Dragon Ball Z seasons. I don't have all of them. So I got, what is this? I got seasons 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9. So 2 I recently bought at a used record store, but they also sold Blu-rays, and they priced it at a very reasonable price. So I was like, why not? Seasons 3 and 5, I bought these on eBay, and the guy did not explicit the condition of these on the slipcover, so I was like, ooh, yikes. That sucked. And then for 7, 8, and 9, I bought these at Best Buy for like a really discounted price. Not really discounted, but like they were discounted enough that I was like, I should probably buy these now before they go up. And then I got some other Dragon Ball Z stuff. I got Dragon Ball Z History of Trunks, Bardock, the father of Goku. Watching anime on Blu-ray, by the way, is very, very nice, especially when it's formatted right. I think that this, movie compilation is pretty good. I always really love Trunks, and his story and the history of Trunks movie is pretty good. So I really, really love this collection in a way, just because of Trunks, because he is one of my favorite DBZ characters. And, Bardock, the father of Goku, was all right. Then we got the Dragon Ball Z movies that were eventually turned into Dragon Ball Super episodes, Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. Dragon Ball Z is much more about like Dragon Ball, and Resurrection F is much more about action. So take that for what you will. I'm just a big Dragon Ball Z fanboy, so those two films are good in their own way. Ghost in the Shell. I bought this when the live action one came out, just to see exactly what the original was all about. I opened it, but I haven't watched it yet. But I know it is pretty good from what people say. Your Name. Oh my god. I cannot explicitly tell you how much I love this film. Watching this in theaters really blew my mind in terms of how the story went. Obviously, the story that it tells is, very unique also, but the way that it unfolds and unravels was very, very awesome, and I really loved it. And also the animation looked beautiful, and, pretty much everything about this film I really enjoy. So, if you love anime, you should definitely check this out if you haven't already. As a person who's very casual on anime, I really, really adore this film, so... Alright, next up we're going to talk about TV shows. Okay, so the first one is definitely a YouTube TV show, but I'm going to include it anyways. The Game Chasers Season 4. I've actually backed all of their DVDs / Blu-rays, aka this is the only Blu-ray that they've come out so far. But I backed and supported all of them. I've only watched Season 1 on the DVDs, so I have no idea exactly how much extra content like Billy put in here. So, but... yeah, there's a lot of bonus features in here and stuff like that, so, it's very, very cool that they, put this collection together, and this is also a awesome way to support the show, so, yeah, there is that. Avatar, The Last Airbender. I bought this at Best Buy, as you can tell, when it was a exclusive there for a short time, but, yeah, finally, Avatar on Blu-ray. It looks, pretty good, or better than on like a regular TV, but I know a lot of people go nuts over Avatar. As for myself, I really was very casual when it was on the air. I watched episodes very sporadically, but I still knew what the story was about in a way. I kind of knew the Fire Nation is taking over, and Aang is like the last Avatar and all this other stuff, but I didn't watch every single episode, so I did start to rewatch, it, I'm still on like season 1 or whatever, but I definitely need to pick back up on my watching of this show, because it is pretty good from what a lot of people say. So, and I really do want to give it a true shot, because I know how it ends in all of the in between bits. I know how Zuko's character arc goes, but I haven't watched the entire series in its entirety in a way. Rick and Morty season 1, 2, and 3. I got these from my friend as a gift. I really love the show. It really does tell its jokes and the way the world is, I guess. It's very interesting as to like the whole Rick and Morty series and the fan base around it as well. I love the show. I hate the fan base, but yeah, season 4, I can wait. I can definitely wait, because we got 3 great seasons of it, so can't really complain there. Stranger Things. I have both of the Blu-ray compilation, season 1 and season 2. I believe these are both Target exclusives, but yeah, just like the presentation on these is like really good. So like this one's like a regular like VHS tape it's supposed to like look like, which is very nice. And then when you take it out of the slipcover, it like opens up, and there are the Blu-ray and DVD things. The DVDs are on the other side, and there's a bunch of little extra bits as well. So, and I haven't opened season 2 yet, because why would I need to open it when I could just watch it on Netflix, which I don't know why I opened this one, but there's that. And same thing for like season 2. It's like a clamshell VHS this time, so that is pretty cool. So season 3 is coming out this summer. Cannot wait. Let's get into the MCU stuff. So just so you know, I own every single MCU Blu-ray, so I'm just going to give my quick thoughts on every single movie. Iron Man. I know a lot of people say that this is like the best MCU movie and all this other stuff. It is really good. It is definitely a great start for the MCU itself, so I will give it that. So yeah, but it is definitely a very, very good film. Probably the best Iron Man film, I would have to say. Right behind it, I would say Iron Man 3. I'll give my opinion on Iron Man 2 in a second, but The Incredible Hulk. I know a lot of people really forget about this film and really poop on it just because of Edward Norton and the fact that it's like the, lost child of the MCU because of it. Personally, I really loved Edward Norton's performance, but I know that he is very problematic as a actor in Hollywood, because he likes to take things into his own control and all this other things. So I think Marvel was kind of just like, all right, we'll just get someone that'll actually work with us, so... But still, I really do love this film. I have a lot of nostalgia for it. So, there's that. Iron Man 2. It's all over the place. I will say that. It's not very cohesive from what I can remember of it. It's not, all there, I will say. But, it's still a fun, action movie and all this other great stuff. Thor. I think that this was a overall average, sort of like introduction for the character. He doesn't really pick up steam until like, what is it? Ragnarok. But for a introduction film and his first standalone, I think it was all right. Captain America: The First Avenger. Very, very good film. Definitely not the best one in terms of like the Captain America trilogy, just because the other one just gets so much better. But you know what? This is still a great first standalone film for Captain America. And then we got the big one, Avengers. Pretty much what blew the MCU wide open in terms of like financial and all of this other stuff, like box office numbers and how many people actually went out to go and watch this film. So but yeah, the first Avengers, it is definitely a very, very good movie. When I first saw it in theaters, it was, definitely a experience, I will say that. And, everything about it, the pacing, the action sequences, all this other stuff, it's definitely top-notch stuff. And then we got the first one, the first film for Phase 2, we got Iron Man 3. Personally, I really adore this film. It is kind of like my guilty pleasure in a way. I don't see why a lot of people really hate it. I know it's because of like the whole, what's his name? I forget this character's name. But, the whole thing around that, that was definitely a huge controversial thing going on there. But, I really liked it. Seeing it in theaters and even rewatching it again afterwards. This is not a total complete poop fest, I will say. Iron Man 3 is definitely one of my more guilty pleasure in terms of MCU movies. Thor: The Dark World, very forgettable. I honestly forget what happens in this film, so we're just gonna move on. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Soldier. This is a great MCU movie. Probably still my favorite. Right behind it is probably Homecoming, but this movie is really, really good. In terms of what it does, like the story, like what's it called? It's much more of a ghost espionage sort of thing. Captain America is trying to fight against S.H.I.E.L.D. because, Hydra's taken over. So it's sort of, in that vein of, like, ghost espionage. I think that's what it's called. I'm very ignorant when it comes to, like, movie critique, so bear with me here. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier, really, really good film. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it. Even if you're not a huge MCU person, I would say, you could probably recommend this to someone and they would probably be down with it, as long as you give them like a quick backstory as to Captain America and where he's been or whatever. Just like a quick brief. Hey, he's a man in the past and he's now in the present, and he did the whole New York thing or whatever. Anyways, Guardians of the Galaxy. Once again, another surprise in terms of like seeing it in theaters. When it's a property like the Guardians of the Galaxy, do you really expect it to be all that good? Not really, but, this was pretty much when people realized that, hey, Marvel could really make anything good. And, most of their films have been pretty good. And I will talk about some of them that I really don't like. Not just The Dark World, or Thor: The Dark World, I should say. But anyways, Guardians of the Galaxy, really good film in terms of, like, comedic effect and all this other stuff. Really do like it. Hopefully the third one doesn't suck, because I know there's a lot of trouble behind that one. Avengers: Age of Ultron. I know this film gets a lot of poop for it. It really does get pooped on just because it's very like forgettable and not exactly as good as the first one, as many people will say. But I don't think it's as bad as people will say it is. I think people are very harsh on this film. As for myself, when I first saw it in theaters, I definitely was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not, Avengers 1 sort of thing, just because Avengers 1 was like so big. It was like the first big like superhero team up after, the build up from Iron Man to Captain America, like all of that build up, and now we get Avengers, and now after all of these films we get Avengers: Age of Ultron. It wasn't as a big of a leap, I will say, but it's still a good film, I will say that. It's not as bad as people say it is. Kind of forgot about this film. Ant-Man. Despite it being honestly my favorite, or one of my favorite MCU movies, probably top 3, I will say that, probably right after it is Homecoming and Winter Soldier. But Ant-Man, this is a really good film in terms of like a solo introduction, superhero character. I think that this is really when Marvel knew what the hell they were doing. And, the way they introduced Scott Lang and his world and all of his other characters, I really do like it. So, next up, we got Captain America: Civil War. Just seeing this in theaters was fantastic. I mean, like, the whole like Civil War aspect, it really felt like Avengers 2.5 in a way. Despite it being a Captain America movie, this was Avengers 2.5 in a way, and this was the introduction to Black Panther and of course Spider-Man. And Tom Holland really does kill it, in his first rendition of the character. And honestly, Spider-Man could have been left out of the film and nothing would have really changed. But just the fact that he was in the film and this is how he was introduced into the MCU was fantastic, and I loved it. The first time I saw him in that trailer, I was like, this is it. This is gonna be awesome. So yeah, this is definitely top 5 top 5 MCU movies. I have no idea if it would be 5 or 4. I definitely would have to think that out, because Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame are probably gonna break those or break into the top 5 in some way. But Civil War, really good film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it's not as good as the first one, I will say that outright, but it is still a very fun film. It does get very predictable at a certain point. I'm kind of just like, oh god, when are we just gonna get, to like the whole climax? Because it really does go from, point A to point B in a very linear way, I will say. But there are some really heartfelt moments in this film, and some very funny moments as well. So it's still Guardians of the Galaxy, just not as grand or surprising as the first film was. Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. I've been talking about this film for the past couple of minutes, sprinkling it in here and there. But honestly, like, Tom Holland really does kill it as Spider-Man, and I really do love Homecoming as a film. It really does. We've already established who Spider-Man is in a way, so this kind of just, builds off of that, and I really do like what direction they're taking this MCU Spider-Man in. There are some changes that they are taking with the character, obviously. The fact that his suit, he didn't make it himself, but it was Tony Stark, but he did have his own suit before, so they do play with that in this film, and yeah, I just cannot wait for Far From Home and Endgame, because I love Tom Holland. Next up, Thor Ragnarok. This was another surprising film just because of, Thor before was kind of just like, it's Thor, whatever. I'll see him in the Avengers again. But this film really does change the character a lot. And I really, it's kind of in a way underrated to like the mainstream audience, because like I think a lot of people before going into like Black Panther and Endgame probably skipped on Thor Ragnarok. But honestly, if you haven't watched it yet, if it's on like Netflix or something like that, give it a watch, because this is a fun time. Like, this is a really fun Thor movie, and really does take the character in a completely new direction, and I think Chris Hemsworth is having a lot more fun with the character now because of it. So yeah, definitely check out Thor Ragnarok if you haven't already. And the next up we got is Black Panther. Now, he's already had time in, Civil War, so how is this standalone film going to be? Sort of like how Spider-Man was. So, and he does fine. I really do like how the film panned out in terms of the story, the characters that they introduce, and, the Wakanda world. Very, very cool. But, yeah, this is definitely a very popular movie amongst fans, I will say. So, but yeah, I still really do like the film. It's just not, like top 5 material, in my opinion, anyways. But, still a very good film, and fun one at that as well. Avengers Infinity War. I remember watching this in theaters. It was obviously very, very recently, but Avengers Infinity War, this is definitely a movie I will not forget anytime soon, just because of the ending, and how it ends and all of that other stuff. Not to spoil anything, despite, probably most people know what I'm talking about, but just how it ended. And, I was just like, wow, that's how they're going to end it, So I cannot wait for Endgame. And for Endgame, we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. So Ant-Man and the Wasp is a sequel to one of my favorite MCU movies, Ant-Man. And it was kind of disappointing, I'm not going to lie. This was not as good of a film as I was expecting it to be. There were definitely a lot more laughs than I was expecting, and it kind of suffered from the story because of it. I think that they were making much more of a comedy out of it instead of like an actual like MCU movie, like well crafted, kind of having like that balance in a way. And the story kind of goes all over the place in some regards, I will say. Just, it's just not my favorite, I will say that. But is it still a good film? It's alright. You can still have your fun with it. Okay, so let's talk about the other superhero movies that aren't MCU. So first up we got is Man of Steel. Honestly, I was enjoying this film until the end, because that's when I fell asleep. But yeah, I guess overall it's like an okay, superhero movie, other than the fact that I fell asleep at the end. And I honestly haven't been bothered to go back and rewatch this film, just because it was very, very slow. And by the time I got to the end, as you can tell, knocked out. So there's that. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Saw this in theaters, and I was very confused as to what the hell was going on. And when Batman and Superman stopped fighting for the reason that I will not name for spoiler reasons, I was kind of just like, wow, okay, so that's where we're going. Okay. So as you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of this film. I know some people are, but personally, it's not my cup of tea. It does drag on and really does nothing throughout the entire film, in my opinion. But even like the extended cut, which adds 30 more minutes, by the way, that was not in theaters, the extra 30 minutes, I was kind of just like, wow, it really just adds nothing, So yeah, this is definitely not one of my favorite films ever. But Wonder Woman, this is a decent movie. I'm not gonna lie. This is definitely a probably the best DCEU movie we've gotten so far. It is very solid. There's not much wrong with it. I would say, other than like, I guess, the final act. But other than that, throughout the entire film, before then, I guess, it's some good stuff. I really do like this movie. And, Gal Gadot does a fantastic job as Wonder Woman, as always. And then we got goddamn Justice League. Watching this movie in theaters, I didn't think it was that bad. But in retrospect, it's probably pretty bad. I'm sorry if the camera got blacked out there. My hair got in the way. Anyways, Justice League. Yeah, it's probably not as good as I remember it, because after I saw it, I was like, yeah, it wasn't terrible. I think I enjoyed myself. Afterwards, I saw a lot of people like pooping on the mustache CGI, which I honestly didn't notice when watching it. Probably because I wasn't looking at his upper lip as much as I probably, shouldn't, But, it's Justice League. I haven't rewatched it yet, but there's that. And then we got the other Spider-Man films that are not part of the MCU. So first up we got is the Sam Raimi trilogy. I'm going to say what pretty much everyone says. There's a lot of nostalgia for this trilogy. Spider-Man 3 is definitely, a guilty pleasure to some. Personally, I really do like, the whole them trying to add Sandman and then Venom and, New Goblin. That was a lot. But obviously, I do appreciate them for trying to do that at least. And then we got Spider-Man 2, which is pretty much the holy grail of the entire series and probably one of the best superhero movies of all time, just because of, how it tells a story about not just Spider-Man, but also Peter Parker. So I really do like that aspect of this movie in particular. And then, of course, the original, which is, it really did start the whole, superhero trend, I would say. That, superhero movies are pretty good in terms of, doing well at the box office. Because, it's Spider-Man. So, and then we get the new Spider-Man series. We get The Amazing Spider-Man, which I own these in 3D for some reason. I have no idea why, but I really like The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm not going to lie. Despite the whole plot hole with Peter Parker just stop trying to find Uncle Ben's murderer, like that was really weird. But other than that, the rest of this movie is pretty good because they heavily take inspiration from the Ultimate Spider-Man comic, which I am a huge fan of. So I really do like some of the things that it takes from there. And then the sequel was just a mess. They were looking 10 steps ahead when they should have just been following step 2, because like they were trying to build up the whole Sinister Six aspect. They were going to add Mary Jane into the movie as well, like introduce her character, but they cut that out. So there was just so much that they were trying to fit into this one film that it was really getting out of control. And I believe there's a deleted scene actually that shows Peter Parker at what's it called? Gwen Stacy's grave. Spoilers, by the way. Gwen Stacy dies, if you didn't know that. But anyways, he's sitting at her grave, and then his father comes up, Ben Parker. Like, he just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, or I believe it's Ben Parker. Anyways, Peter Parker's dad just comes up, and it was just like, wait, what the hell? This was a deleted scene. And they took it out because of something like, early screenings, people were like, it was like way too emotional, just right after, his girlfriend dies, his dad comes back into his life, like that was kind of weird. And also, them trying to implement his parents' backstory, I really do appreciate it, but it's kind of just like, it's not really needed, so, but that was my rant. Let's talk about Logan real quick. This was a awesome film. I really loved it when I saw it in theaters. This was a awesome send-off for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and yeah, just a fantastic film. I really, really love it. And that's all you need to know. Also, it's rated R. Like, rated R superhero movies are not all that common. I hope they become more common, honestly, because superhero movies could be so much more if they were R-rated, you know, just like in some aspects on how the comics are, you know, not like blatantly cursing, but, you know, more blood and gore and all that other good stuff. So, yeah, Logan is just fantastic. Deadpool 1 and 2. Deadpool 1 is amazing. Really loved it. Despite the budget being so low, they still managed to create a fantastic film with it. Deadpool 2 bumped up the budget a bit, added Cable, added all of these other characters as well. It's an alright film. It's not as good as the first one in my opinion, but still, you know, it's still a fun, jolly old good time Deadpool fun. So, there's that. Now then, we gotta talk about the Christian Bale Batman trilogy. So we got Batman Begins, which is, you know, a great beginnings. I will say that. Then we got the Dark Knight, which is, I would say, highly recalled as one of the best, if not the best, superhero films of all time. Which I can see why. Heath Ledger's Joker is still not matched to this day, I would say. I haven't watched Suicide Squad, but I'm pretty sure whatever Jared Leto tried to do would not even touch Heath Ledger's Joker in this film alone. You know, so fantastic performance by him. And then The Dark Knight Rises. I know a lot of people give, poop for this movie once again, but I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. It's still, you know, a pretty good Batman film overall, you know, seeing the rise and fall of Batman in a way, so there's that. Then we got two more Batman movies. These are animated. Batman: The Killing Joke. As a person who hasn't read the Killing Joke comic, I can definitely say that if they just cut out the whole beginning bit with Barbara Gordon, or should I say Batgirl, and, you know, that whole thing that they were doing, I don't know why the hell they were doing that. It probably would have been a much better film. It's still, you know, not as good as the comics I would have to imagine. But even then, you know, my impressions of this film alone was kind of, you know, subpar. But yeah, the whole like beginning part of this movie really fell out of place. Like, it honestly felt like, you know, a Saturday morning cartoon. You watch that and then it's like, all right, now here's the Batman The Killing Joke movie. You know, like, it was very, very weird. I know that they wanted to, you know, build up Barbara Gordon's character, but that was really unnecessary in my opinion. Then we got Batman Ninja. This was a much more recent Batman movie, and I honestly just bought it because I was like, this is a Batman anime. Why not? So, bought it, watched it. There are two versions of it. So, you have the English dub, and then you have the Japanese dub. Both versions of the film are completely different. So, that is very, very weird and interesting. So, I watched the English dub. It's good, you know, it's not like, you know, anything amazing or spectacular. I really enjoyed it, but it's not, you know, oh my god, bro, you have to watch it. But, you know, if you want some good Batman anime stuff, you can watch this film. Okay, so now let's get into the alphabetical stuff. So this is definitely going to take a while. So 500 Days of Summer. This is a film that my brother adores, and personally for myself, it is definitely a very, very good film. Who directs it? I forget his goddamn name. Mark Webb, I believe. But yeah, this is a very quirky romantic comedy sort of thing, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zoe Deschanel. I believe she is the girl from New Girl or whatever. So yeah, it's a fun film. You know, if you're into like rom-coms like myself, I have no idea why I love these films so much, but yeah, this is definitely one of the good ones. So 50-50. I know that this is, you know, a funny film with Seth Rogen in it, but I don't know much of it because I haven't watched it yet. This is one of the many thrift store finds that me and my brother buy, and we haven't watched it yet. So 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street. Bought this at Best Buy recently. It's pretty cheap these days, so just bought it, whatever. 12 Years a Slave. Heard that this is pretty good, as you can see from the Best Picture winner. So definitely want to, you know, see what this is all about. All I know is that its title is 12 Years a Slave. So It's as much as I know. A Quiet Place. This was a film that I honestly went into it not expecting much, came out of it really surprised and really happy with how much I enjoyed it. A lot of the film is quiet, which, hence the name A Quiet Place. There's not a lot of sound, not a lot of noise in the film, which makes watching it in theaters that much more, I guess, suspenseful in a way. Because, like, watching movies in the theater, you have to be quiet. But in this movie, you actually have to be quiet. Because if you make any noise, everyone's going to know it's you. So, literally, you can't talk, you can't move. It kind of feels like you're in that world in a way when you're watching the movie. So, definitely a very interesting one. I know that they're making, or John, I said Josh, goddamn John Krasinski is making another film, so can't wait to go and see what he makes there. But yeah, this is definitely a very, very good film for his first one, I will say that. A Christmas Story. I remember watching this film when I was much younger in like school or something. I don't know why we watched it in school. I mean, I guess it's rated PG, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I know that this is a very old school sort of like Christmas movie, so but on Blu-ray, because why not? Next up, American Sniper, another thrift store find. Don't really have much to say other than Bradley Cooper's in it, so that's cool. Annihilation. Oh my god, this film is crazy. That is as much as I will say. I didn't watch I didn't watch Ex Machina before going into this, so I had no idea how crazy this film was gonna be. But oh my god, this film is really weird and really out there. I will say that. And the cast they have for this movie is very, very interesting. Natalie Portman, the guy from Star Wars, and some other notable people. Tessa Thompson. So yeah. It's just a crazy film. That's all I can say. Boyhood. This is a very interesting film because they use the same kid actor throughout the entire movie. So like when he grows up, it's still the same kid. So that is very cool, and I think is the only film that's done it, or one of the many films that have, or very few films that have done it. Not many. I'm pretty sure not many people, would do or invest this much time in making a movie like this. So yeah, I haven't watched it myself, but I know it is pretty good. So maybe I'll watch that later this week. I don't know. Blockers. This was a movie that my brother was like, hey, let's watch it. And I was like, oh, god damn. It already looked really troll and really, out there because of John Cena. Every single time I see John Cena on screen, I will laugh, like 100%. Whenever the Bumblebee movie was out, like the trailers were out, I would laugh every single time I saw John Cena. But anyways, Blockers. It's definitely, a very lighthearted, it's not really lighthearted, but it is definitely a movie you need to watch with your brain turned off, like 100%. You can't take this movie seriously because it's literally just about the parents cock blocking their daughters. So there's that. Black Klansman. If you want a much more, I guess, thought process or thinking movie, I guess, Black Klansman is one of those. So pretty much this guy, he plays as, or he pretends to be a white guy to get into the KKK, and yeah, and he's the actual guy that goes in when, they need to do meetings or whatever. So yeah, this is a very interesting movie. I really do like it. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It is directed by Spike Lee, so if you're familiar with his work, you might like this film. Blade Runner 2049. I don't know, other than it is really good and a really long movie. So that's why I haven't watched it yet, because it's really goddamn long. And I don't know if I want to invest, what is it, like 3 hours or something like that into, watching this movie. Actually, it's like 6:12. Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours, something like that. So yeah, it's a pretty long film. So I don't know if I'll watch this anytime soon, but I know it is pretty good. Ryan Gosling always, appears in pretty good films. I will say that. So next up, Battle of the Sexes. My brother told me it was pretty good. We saw it at Black Friday this past year, so I was like, screw it, let's buy it. It has Steve Carell in it and Emma Stone. I like their work, so I was like, screw it, let's watch it. and it is very interesting. All you need to know is nothing, pretty much just the title and that it has Emma Stone and Steve Carell. If that's enough to draw you in, watch it. It is pretty good. I will say that. So, and it is based on a true story, I believe. So, Baby Driver. This is not based on a true story. This is just a really good action film. Yeah, it's just really good. And I believe that this is like the last big movie Kevin Spacey was in before, his whole controversy. But Baby Driver, really good film. Creed, oh my god, Creed is such a good movie. I was really surprised by how much I really liked it. I have never watched any of the Rocky movies because my parents are, not American, obviously. If you guys don't know, I am Asian. But yeah, I never watched a Rocky film. So Creed, watching it without knowing anything about Rocky other than, he was a boxer, and now Creed is like the next, sort of series to push the series, I guess, forward. It's pretty good. And, Creed 2, it's all right. It's not as good as, the first Creed, but, Creed 2 is still a good movie in its own right. Crazy Rich Asians. Speaking about me being Asian, I really love this film. It has a lot of heart, and if you are Asian like myself, you will relate to certain things in this movie a lot, in terms of, the fact that this is a all Asian cast. Like, that is very, very cool to go and see, just everyone's Asian pretty much, so that is awesome to see on screen. But yeah, it is pretty good. Even like some of my coworkers really love this film, so, and they're not even Asian, so even pretty much just watch this film if you like, romantic sort of stories, I guess. I pretty much that's what this is, right? Whatever. Good film. Crazy Stupid Love. I remember watching this on like a Netflix rental for like a DVD or something, but my brother recently just bought it. This is a interesting movie because it got Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone. It's got all of these, like, well-known actors and actresses, and the way it pans out, oof, that is very, very interesting. So there's that. Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. This is a movie that I bought on Black Friday because, I heard that it was pretty good, but, very overlooked in some regards. And as a person who's read Captain Underpants growing up, in grade school and all of this other, nonsense, why not? Let's see exactly how this, DreamWorks movie pans out. I haven't watched it yet. As you can see, it's still sealed, but hopefully one day. Call Me By Your Name. This is a movie that really surprised me. It has Armie Hammer, Timothy Chalamet. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Anyways, this is really good. It's pretty much you watching a summer vacation from the perspective of these two, or from the perspective of Timothy's character. I forget his name, Elio. So, yeah, this is definitely one of the better movies of the year that it came out. I believe it was 2017, I believe. So, definitely one of the better films that came out that year. Really do like it. If you haven't watched it yet, you should definitely check it out. Even if you're not into, like, these, like, movies that are for, like, the Oscars or whatever, or for the Academy, I still think that it is, a pretty good film that everyone can sit down and enjoy. Dunkirk. I know there's been I've been hearing a lot of other people talk about this film in a way that, this is sort of like, what's it called? In a way, it's not as good as people remember it being. I will say that. But as a person who really doesn't care, I haven't watched it yet. But, I know that it is very good. But as of recently, people have been saying it's not as good as they remember it. So I don't know anymore. Next up we got is Drive. This is a Ryan Gosling film. My brother bought this at a used store or whatever, so I have no idea what it's about other than it's got Ryan Gosling in it, so that's cool. Django Unchained. Recently just watched this film. This is really good. This is some good Quentin Tarantino stuff. Jamie Foxx does a fantastic job as Django, and the story that it tells and everything like that, very, very good. Really do like it. And yeah, just a good action film. There's a lot of blood. So if you're down with that, you're down with that. But if you're not, you're not. So, Ex Machina. I watched this on Amazon Prime or something like that with my friends, and I was just like, yeah, this movie's definitely very weird and very crazy in some ways. But, it's got Oscar Isaac, the guy from Star Wars, once again. And yeah, this is a interesting film. I will say that once again. But yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, I guess you should give it a shot, because it does tell a very interesting story of robots. And last in this stack, anyways, is 8th Grade. I recently just bought this just to support Bo Burnham. I know that he was, a very prominent YouTuber back then, and now, he's moving on to other things such as film. And this movie is really good. When I saw it in theaters, I was really down with how, he directed it and how he told the story through this 13-year-old girl, Kayla, and, living in, a age of social media and, that sort of thing with YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, social media in and of itself. So, very, very interesting film. All right, so moving on to the next stack over here, we got Fan 4 Stick. I literally bought this because it was really cheap, and I kind of just want to have a quick laugh at just seeing on how bad this film is. So I haven't watched it yet because I kind of want to watch it with my friends. So maybe we'll do that sometime soon. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. All I know is that this has the guy from How I Met Your Mother, and yeah, that's about it. Game Night. This is a good film. I was really surprised by how good it actually was. But pretty much, it's about board games and, people having a game night, and now there's murder and, a whole mystery going on. Who's the killer? What's going on? That sort of thing. But yeah, it is definitely pretty good. Really do like it. Get Out. My God, Jordan Peele, my man. You are a genius when it comes to filmmaking, and it definitely shows in his first film, Get Out. Very, very good film. That's all I have to say, really. And I cannot wait to go and see his movie Us, which seems to be a little bit more surrounded on horror, which Get Out isn't a horror movie, I would say. Definitely not. Gifted, just a feels good man movie. If you want to feel good, just watch this movie. You will a heartwarming look at the meaning of what family really is. To be honest, yes, this is exactly what that film is. So yeah, really, really do like this movie. And it's got Captain America. It's got my boy Chris Evans. So now we got Godzilla. I know that this movie has, what's his name from Breaking Bad. It's probably on here. God damn it. Where is it? What's his name? Bryan Cranston. He's in the movie. But I know that this is, a very subpar Godzilla movie. And, just watching the trailer for the new Godzilla movie, I can definitely see why that is. Because I believe that they don't show Godzilla for most of the movie, and then he shows up at the end. And then it's like, oh, wow, that's Godzilla. Wow. Sort of thing. Hacksaw Ridge. Very good war movie. I will say that I really loved Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man. I honestly thought that he was a great Spider-Man. Maybe not so much of a Peter Parker, but he is still a fantastic actor, and it definitely shows in Hacksaw Ridge. So, very, very good war movie. If you are not a fan of seeing body parts fly everywhere, don't watch that movie. Definitely do not watch Hacksaw Ridge. Harry Potter, the complete 8 films, so pretty much every single Harry Potter movie. My opinion in terms of the Harry Potter series is that, it's a good, wizardry sort of, movie series. My favorite definitely has to be The Prisoner of Azkaban, but, all of the other films are good in their own right. They all have their own moments and, good, parts or whatever, but, I'm a very casual Harry Potter fan, I will say that. Hereditary. This is a horror film at its finest. This movie is balls to the wall, crazy, insane. Yeah, it's really all over. Well, not all over the place in a bad way, but like it's definitely a modern day horror masterpiece. I will say that definitely with USA Today. This is, if you want to get scared and if you want to feel in suspense, definitely watch Hereditary. Definitely watch this movie. And then we got Home Alone, the 2-pack. We got 1 and 2. Home Alone's definitely a, nostalgic series for me because my mom used to show me this movie all the time around Christmas. So, yeah, Home Alone is definitely, a cult classic amongst us Americans or whatever. Let me just take this price sticker off. What the hell is this? But anyways, Horrible Bosses. I remember watching this movie so long ago, but I forget exactly if it was good or bad. But all I know is that it was funny. So, yeah, there's that. Hot Tub Time Machine, sort of like the same thing. It's definitely a comedy, and yeah, there's that. Really don't know what to say other than that. Inception. This is highly acclaimed. When I think this was for a lot of people. When you first watch it, you're kind of just like, what the hell am I watching? And then afterwards, like when you watch it a second time, you're like, oh, now I get it. Now I know what's going on, because it's like he goes into a dream, into another dream, and, it just keeps going. So, but yeah, Inception. I haven't watched it since it came out, so I don't really have a strong opinion on it, but yeah. Oh my God. This is a great movie. It is definitely leaning more towards on the horror side. There are some scary moments, but it's not necessarily like, it's not Hereditary level. I will say that. Like, Hereditary is on its own level, but this one's like definitely like 10 steps below it. But yeah, we got Pennywise, and I believe now they're working on a sequel. So that is very, very cool. It Follows, another horror movie. My brother actually recommended this to me. I haven't watched it yet, so don't have much to say about it other than It Follows. So, I, Tonya. This was a surprise I saw in the theaters a while back. Margot Robbie, Sebastian Stan, aka the Winter Soldier. So, yeah, definitely a very interesting lineup for the cast. And then the story it tells, I believe it's based on a true story, so very, very good. Really do like it. I'm not a huge like ice skater fan, or I honestly had no idea what this story was based on. But just watching the movie, it was definitely very entertaining. We got John Wick 1 and 2. Cannot wait for the third one. But you know what, John Wick, it's great action. That's all you need to know. These are some great action movies, and yeah. Cannot wait to go and see Keanu Reeves back in action in the third movie. Kick-Ass. Haven't watched this movie in a while, but this is definitely one of my, personal favorite sort of like superhero movies in a way. Aaron Johnson does a fantastic job as Kick-Ass, and Nicolas Cage is a surprising one as well, and Chloe Grace Moretz or something like that. Anyways, very, very fun film. And I believe the sequel, I don't have it, but I know my opinion of the sequel is that it's better than the first one, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though, so take that for what you will. Now we're moving on to the second stack with L. We got Lady Bird. I love a good coming-of-age story, and this is another one of those coming-of-age stories, and yeah, it's pretty good. I believe it's about this girl in high school. She is in Catholic high school or whatever, and she's going through whatever shenanigans she's going through, but it's a coming of age story, so that's all you need to know. La La Land. Very surprised by this movie, just because I don't normally watch films like this where it's like song and dance and all this other interesting things going on here. Once again, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone meet once again, and it's pretty good. Definitely a musical masterpiece, some may say, but it's definitely a very, very good film, and I was once again very surprised by it. Live, Die, Repeat. Don't know much about it other than it has Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, and yeah. Looper. My brother claims that this is a fantastic film. We recently bought this on eBay used, so it's got Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Emily Blunt, so what can you go wrong? Love, Simon. Oh my god, this was a surprising film that I saw in theaters of last year. Very, very much enjoyed this film. I love coming of age stories, like I said earlier, and this is just another one of them, but just with a gay character. So definitely something that I think some people needed in their lives. But yeah, very, very much enjoyed this film. Mean Girls. I actually haven't watched this. I know that this is like a cult classic in a way, a classic film in some regards, but I haven't watched it yet. So, but no, it's like a guilty pleasure sort of thing. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Haven't watched this yet, and I haven't watched this one either. Fallout. And I know that this is definitely some of people's favorite movie of last year, so definitely have to give it a look-see eventually. But there's that. Molly's Game. I remember watching this movie and I was kind of just like, wow, this is based on a true story. This is crazy. And my brother bought it because he fell asleep at a certain point. I kept trying to wake him up, but he just kept going back to sleep. So, but this is definitely a very, very good film. Don't let my brother falling asleep tell you that this is a bad one. This is a interesting story. So, and if you like based on true story films, you should definitely check out Molly's Game. Moonlight. Bought this Blu-ray just because it was, Golden Globe winner and all this other stuff. And all that mishap with, La La Land winning and then Moonlight actually winning. But anyways, saw this or watched this movie at home. Very, very good. Very surprised by exactly what what the movie was telling, in terms of like the story that it was telling and all this other stuff, and how it, goes through pretty much the guy's entire life, pretty much, when he's a young boy, teenager, then a adult. So you really do get to go and see this character grow. So very, very interesting. Neighbors. I mean, it has Seth Rogen in it, so you just have to assume that it's some sort of comedy. So, and it has Zac Efron, so can you go wrong there? Then we got Pacific Rim. Fantastic movie. Really, really loved it. As far as the sequel, Uprising, I haven't watched it yet. My friend Damien, co-host of my podcast, the Travis and Damien podcast, he said it wasn't that bad. So maybe I have to, watch it and take his word for it. Paddington 2. First, I need to get the first Paddington, but overall, I know that this was a really good animated film of last year. Paul. Oh my god, I used to see commercials for this all the time, and I was like, bro, this is a movie for me. Look, bro, the alien is like, so out there, and, it's just like a comedy movie, so I was just like, this has to be my film. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely anticipating watching it very, very soon. Paper Towns. Once again, sort of like teenage antics. I really love, just movies about teenagers doing dumb shit. But yeah, this is another one of those, and it does it decently well. I will say that. It's not, a fantastic movie by any means, but if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't, sort of thing. The brand new Power Rangers movie, or the newer Power Rangers movie, it's alright. I really like that they focus on, the Rangers and, their backstory and all that good stuff, but I think a lot of people really dislike that, and the fact that they only got into their costumes towards the later half of the movie really rubbed people the wrong way. For myself, I really didn't mind it, so hopefully they'll change that in the sequel, because that's when they could just be in their costumes for probably 75% of the movie, hopefully. But yeah, there is that. Now let's move on to the next stack here with all S's. So we got Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If you love video game references and just nerdy stuff in general, you should definitely check out Scott Pilgrim, not just the movie, but also the comic. Fantastic stuff there, but the movie, great adaptation. I really do love it. And yeah. Searching, probably one of my favorite movies of last year, not just because You know, the main lead is Asian, and it does involve a Asian family. But also because of just how the movie is directed and presented to you, it's just fantastic. Everything you see in this movie is on a screen. So, yeah, just like think about it like that. It's sort of like what's that movie called, Unfriended or whatever, with like the whole like Skype thing. Like that was the entire movie, but it was pretty much that, but good. So that's pretty much what Searching is. It is a fantastic movie. I really do love it. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely check it out. I think it is definitely one of the more underrated movies of last year. Sicario. Don't know anything about it other than it's called Sicario. It's got Emily Blunt. I believe that is Josh Brolin. And who is that? God damn it. Is that... Oh, whatever. Anyways, we got Skyfall. I remember watching this film on Amazon so many years back, and I really enjoyed it. So I recently bought it again on at a record store. So yeah, Skyfall on Blu-ray. There's that. Split. This was a movie that really intrigued me, but I was afraid that it was going to be terrible. And then because, you know, it's M. Night Shyamalan, and he has a track record of making some really terrible films, but this one supposedly wasn't that bad. So hopefully I could, you know, pop it in and, you know, check it out. Straight Outta Compton. I know that this is a very good movie about, you know, hip-hop, I believe. So, and it is based on a true story, so I want to go and see what that's all about. Star Trek Into Darkness. Don't know much about Star Trek, but I got this for, I believe it was like, what, $4? You can see right there, so why not? Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I'm not a crazy Star Wars nut. I definitely grew up, or quote-unquote grew up, with the prequels, but, you know, I do recognize that the original trilogy is, you know, very, very good. And yeah, then we got The Force Awakens. I enjoyed it a lot. I know it's like a soft reboot sort of thing, because, you know, they got like Han Solo in it and a bunch of other older characters, but at the same time introducing new characters like Rey and all of them. So I really enjoyed it, and even The Last Jedi is not that terrible, despite what some fanboys may say. Superbad. I don't know much about it. I haven't watched it yet, but I know that it is definitely a comedy. So let's try to make some room here. We got too many Blu-rays going on screen. Maybe we should put some to the side. But we got the last stack here. We are in the end game, boys. Okay? So we got Ted. Funny film, supposedly. I don't know. It's got Mark Wahlberg in it, so can't be that bad, right? I hope. We got Ninja Turtles, the original and Secret of the Ooze. The third movie sucks, but these two are pretty good, especially the first one. I really love the original movie. The Secret of the Ooze is... they don't use their weapons as much, so that was kind of like my thing about it. But, you know, even then, like, the story of the first one I think is just much better. But moving on, we got 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Very good film. Very, very surprised by what story this was telling. You know, it's pretty much about these 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, and that's all you really need to know. And, you know, the main actress that leads this film, Frances McDormand, fantastic, awesome. But yeah, really, really good film. I really do like it. So, and you know, I pretty much knew nothing going into it, so that's pretty much how I want you to know when going into it. Oh god, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Very surprised by how much I like this film, not gonna lie. Just because I really hate Teen Titans Go and what it stands for, but this movie is not that bad. In terms of, you know, the jokes and, you know, some of the musical lines or whatever, you know, some of that stuff could definitely be a little much. But yeah, definitely still a decent film, I will say that. The 40-year-old version. This was pretty much Steve Carell's big breakout role, I believe, and it is pretty good. And I recently just watched it because, you know, I finished watching The Office, so I was like, let's see what this is about, and it's not that bad, you know. This is definitely a pretty good film. So moving on, we got The Disaster Artist. To know what this film really is about, you have to watch The Room, which is a fantastic disaster of a movie, but it's so bad it's good. And The Disaster Artist is pretty much all about it. Is all about the process of making the movie. They even recreate some of the scenes for it, and yeah, I really, really love this film. It's pretty goddamn good. Moving on, we got The Edge of 17, another coming-of-age story where teenagers go on shenanigans on all this other stuff, but this one's on Netflix. This one is now on Netflix, and it is pretty good. Haley Steinfeld, I am a huge fan of her work in terms of her acting, her music, all that good stuff. And yeah, she's fantastic. Woody Harrelson, once again, fantastic. So if you haven't watched it yet and you got some time, definitely check it out on Netflix. The First Purge, one of my coworkers said it was pretty good. Saw it at Black Friday for a heavily reduced price. Picked it up. Why not? I've never watched any of the Purge movies other than I know that it's one day where you could just kill anyone. So there's that. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. My brother bought this. I don't know exactly why. Maybe it's good. I have no idea. The Hangover. Fantastic film. I know the other sequels are pretty much all of the same thing, but the first one is pretty good. And as you can tell, Best Buy, $3.75. Not bad. The Hitman's Bodyguard. Heard that this was a funny movie. Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. Where can you go wrong? So, haven't watched it yet though. So, but I'm pretty sure there's got to be action in it, right? Because they got guns. So, we got the Lego Movie and the Batman, or the Lego Batman movie, whatever. First up, the Lego Batman movie is pretty much a love letter to Batman and the Batman and Joker relationship. Like, this is a fantastic film in terms of being a love letter to Batman and also just like a fun, little kids movie sort of thing. Then we got the Lego Movie, which surprised everyone when it came out. Like, this is honestly better than it should have been, and it is really, really good. I really do love this film. And the sequel that recently came out is not that bad either. I know it's not doing as well in the box office, but that's just because I think they did too much of the Lego stuff before doing a sequel to the original. They did Lego Batman, as you can see here, but they also did Lego Ninjago, so I think people are just a little sick of the whole Lego thing, and I think it was not as advertised as much as it probably could have been. Moving on, we got The Nice Guys, Private Dicks, Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling. It's a buddy cop movie. Where can you go wrong? This is awesome. I really, really enjoyed this film, and it is pretty funny as well. The comedic duo, as they call it back there. But if they ever make a sequel to this film, I would love it, honestly. The Shape of Water. It's definitely a very weird and interesting film, and it did win Best Picture. So take that for what you will, but this is a movie about this girl who is, she can't speak, so yeah, it's pretty much about her story and how she finds this mysterious creature and finds love. So that's a thing. The Social Network, fantastic movie. Really, really do love it, or not love it. I really like it. I don't necessarily love it, but it is definitely a very, very good movie about how Facebook was made in the, controversy and how it pretty much got all started. So, yeah, very, very good. The Wolf of Wall Street. This is a long, long movie. I think this one is actually like 3 hours long. Yeah, it's actually like 3 hours long or something like that. So, but it is some good stuff here. This is a fantastic Martin Scorsese film in terms of, this. I believe this is also based on a true story about not Martin Scorsese, God damn it. What's his goddamn name? Jordan Belfort. So, pretty much the story about him. And it is really, really good. So, there's that. This is the end. If you want to watch like a very, light, I hate saying lighthearted, but if you just want to watch a movie where you could just laugh and just turn your brain off, this is definitely one of them. Then we got Tully. I heard that this was a pretty good film, and every single time I saw the trailer for this movie, it looked good. So I'm not sure if it is good. I know some people said that it was, so not entirely sure, but I'm definitely interested to, you know, finally check it out for myself. Alright guys, last two movies here. We got Upgrade. I believe that this is pretty much a better version of Venom, like if Venom was actually like R-rated, I believe. So there's that. And then Wonder. Wonder is actually like a very good, like feels good movie, and it's not just about the kid here, it's about the entire family and how he affects the entire family and all this other stuff. So yeah, this is definitely a very feels good movie. And you know, if you haven't seen it yet and you just want to watch a movie where you're like, yeah, I feel good in my heart, you know, inspiring and uplifting. That's exactly what this film is. So, oh god. Thank you guys for sticking with me for my entire Blu-ray collection. There's actually some more on the side here, so let me just get that into the shot. Yeah, this is definitely a lot of Blu-rays. So, yeah, thank you guys for sticking with me throughout this entire video, whether you skip to certain points or whatever. I really don't care. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys haven't already, subscribe. New videos are uploaded on Saturdays. Follow my social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. And yeah, I think that is about it. Thank you guys for watching this video once again. I'll see you guys next time with more videos. Game on, gamers.